morning, everybody. I'm very proud to be the director of BRC Learning and to welcome you and to officially open this very first ever BRC Leaders Summer School.
Over the next 3 months, really looking forward to you experiencing this incredible program that we've developed around our 4 pillars.
People, profit, planet and purpose.
People have pivoted their businesses, pivoted the way of thinking and been super agile in things that they've done, such that mountains have been moved by this industry. Collaborating, generating change, working together to drive a journey to net zero even faster than what the government's commitment is of 2050, but rather by 2040. That change is not going to happen on its own. Just be curious, be open, take the time to really think about how you can actually implement what you've learned. I hope I've sort of given you a flavour that there's a void there waiting for some great leadership to step into, and you are part of that future.
There's no two ways that we have undergone probably the most fundamental change in consumer commerce that I've ever experienced. How we are starting to change the way that we live, and in turn, that is bringing the most fundamental shift in the way we buy. That excites me. Even the word consumer, you judge me by what I buy and not who I am. Do I have a voice? Yes. Yes. Move away from profit first to people first. And this is influencing the way we buy more consciously. We're seeing it more empathetically. We're choosing more and more businesses who have human decency at their core. This is our moment to change. And I want us to be at the heart of it. I want business. I don't think this is going to come from politics. This is going to come from us, the business world, who understand that every pound is a vote on how we want to live. There's a wonderful philosopher, Gershom Scholem, who called these moments of plastic hours. Those rare times in history when things align to make deep change possible. We're in this. Crucial moments when it's possible to act. Because if you move then, something happens. And we're in that. The new future's there. It's within our grasp. Discomfort we know is all around. There's nobody whose life hasn't been touched by this pandemic. It's up to us, though, I believe, as organisations, as businesses, as individuals, to take these plastic hours and make something of them. And we mustn't underestimate the power of what we have and the potential that we can achieve.
Asking, who do you need to become now? What is the world asking of us today? What happens to you? It's not what shapes your success and your well-being. What really shapes our success is the lessons we take out of our experiences. We are not taking time to take stock, to look at ourselves, to pause, to look at our own needs. But in order for you to then grow, you have to shed that old skin. You have to shed that old shell. If we're not recognized for the value and contribution that we bring, then your subconscious mind switches on this anxious brain that says, well, you're at the risk of being excluded from the group. And that's, by the way, most of our phobias actually evolve from some of those needs, some of those unmet needs. Ask yourself, so what do I know now that I didn't know before? What are new things that I need to learn? How do I feel now? And what I can do differently now. Don't be scared of change. That's the nice takeaway.
Vicky and I have had great fun looking at all the questions you have submitted. So first things, I just want to say a huge thank you to you all.
I think that the system's conditions will change in our favor, and it will be much easier to actually make money out of sustainability. Until then, we have to be very creative.
Or impact will be one of the scorecard measures in the future.
Just different ways of actually accessing the products from a consumer point of view. We think the consumer will probably lead the way in terms of how they shop.
The voices of new youth and new leadership are calling for change. So I think we'll see change happening on a scale and speed that we don't expect. It's sort of a race of the tipping points. We've got climate tipping points, we've got cultural tipping points. Let's get the cultural tipping point rolling.
Consumers will be wanting this change, will be wanting to see things happen, and those organisations, those businesses such as the refilling, will be seen as the norm.
In order to drive a customer experience, I've got to have a corresponding employee experience. And the employee experience has to be an experience that generates a sense of belonging. It's about selling things that don't come back to people that do come back.
Going forward, I definitely see psychological safety becoming part of that main purpose, and organizations building that into their strategy, into their culture, into the way we run our organizations.
I do feel like often the circular economy is kind of presented as a silver bullet for materials things. The economy is in the very center, and that is nested in society, which is nested in the environment. And they interact with each other, and they're interconnected. And that's kind of how we need to see the economy.
External infrastructure and living systems that we have built and hand on from generation to generation exert a powerful influence on the choices we make. It's also culturally, we've become locked into high carbon mindsets, associating success and status with buy more, spend more, travel more, eat more. We don't need to focus on buying things we don't need with money we don't have to impress people we don't like. We can focus on improving well-being. As we transform our technology, culture and lifestyles, we begin to glimpse this next chapter in the story of human beings and energy and happiness.
All of this affects landscape of retail, because if all of those changes influence our values, our beliefs, the reasons for why we buy and why businesses exist, how does that reflect on your business? How does it reflect on the entire landscape of retail?
Inclusion for us is about belonging. At its most rooted, it's about belonging. If I had my life to do over again, I would be braver. And as I've said to you already, what we do doesn't define who we are. Who we are defines what we do, at least it should be. On the one hand, it's about being courageous enough to be who you are. But I think there's another side of the courage conversation that is actually able to say, I'm going to be courageous enough to help you believe who you are. There is a causal link between performance, an absolute causal link between performance and treatment. No question whatsoever in our mind about that. The thing that's important to note here is, although I know it's tempting to think they're the same thing, diversity is not inclusion. They are completely different things. And just listen to these words, the idea of feeling respected, of feeling valued, of feeling trusted, of feeling safe, of able to belong, and in that environment to not only to belong, but to be your best self and to do your best work.
How to get your message across. Why does nobody ever listen to me when I've got something important to say?
We've learnt over our many years in the business world is that nothing of any significance, absolutely nothing of significance gets done unless other people can be persuaded that it's a worthwhile activity, that it's effectively the right thing to do. We find that telling stories is one of the most effective ways in which you can persuade others to support the plans and the ideas and the projects that you feel are important. So the simple answer is the most important one of those essentials is the goal. What does our audience want to achieve? Well, how will we know that unless we ask them?
Taking part in this course has reminded me that there are some really brilliant people within the industry, and we do want to make a positive change, not only for the planet, but also the people within it. They have reminded me and really driven home for me the importance of the people within the industry, but also giving them a sense of purpose and making them feel like they truly belong, because that's how we're going to get the best out of people.
Hello and welcome to London BRC 107.6. My name is Kevin, and on today's show we'll be talking about leading change within the retail environment. We have Michael with us today, who works for World Duty Free, a part of the Dufry Group, which is the biggest travel retailer in the world. But before I start the topic, let's introduce you to Michael, who will be with us in the hot seat for the next 10 minutes.
For me, moving forward, it doesn't matter what industry that you work in, the 4 pillars absolutely affect everyone.
To all of you, just think for a second, just think, who do I work for? How do I buy? How do I want to live? What world do I want to live for my children? Do I want to be a bastard brand or actually one that actually does good? And you know, if we answer these well, we have the potential to ignite and bring together something that is a true movement for change. For me, it comes down to a simple principle. Don't forget this one, I'd like the headline. The give a fucks and the don't give a fucks.